more election analysis, I'm joined by CBS News chief election and campaign correspondent Robert Costa. So, Bob, you've been to Pennsylvania. You've spent a lot of time in Pennsylvania. Give me the sense of the issue set there for in the Senate race and also in the gubernatorial contest.
John, good to be with you on election eve. Beyond the grievances about the Philadelphia Phillies losing the World Series to the Houston Astros, this is an election in Pennsylvania that's about the economy. And you heard that again and again from voters when we traveled across the state, whether it was in western Pennsylvania or in the Philadelphia suburbs. High prices are on everybody's mind. So is the issue of crime, and Republicans have hammered that in advertising. Republican Senate candidate Mehmet Oz, in particular, has done that. Abortion rights has been raised by the Democratic Senate candidate John Fetterman, as well as the gubernatorial candidate on the Democratic side, Josh Shapiro. And in Pennsylvania, the issue of democracy, perhaps more than any other state, has come to the fore because an avowed election denier, Doug Mastriano, is running for governor, endorsed by former President Trump.
President Biden and former President Obama were in Philadelphia over the weekend. What does that tell you?
Tells you that they need turnout in Philly. The city of brotherly love, that's the Democratic stronghold in the state. Yes, Pittsburgh to an extent, but Philadelphia is it. I mean, you think about former Congressman Bob Brady, the longtime Union ally in Philadelphia, the Democrat. All the Democratic mayors in recent decades going back to Ed Rendell. They know if Democrats want to win statewide, the turnout has to be high in Philadelphia. And so you see President Biden, you see former President Obama, you see, of course, John Fetterman and others are going back to Philadelphia again and again. But to counter that stoked Democratic turnout potentially in Philadelphia, Mehmet Oz and other Republicans are targeting the suburbs of Philadelphia, those collar counties like Bucks County and Montgomery County, thinking that the moderate Republican, the traditional Republican, maybe they don't love former President Trump, but they'd be amenable and agreeable when it comes to listening to a new message on the economy, especially in these times.
So you mentioned former President Donald Trump. He's endorsed 247 of the Republican candidates on the ballot. What impact do you think that has had on those races, both on the actual race itself? Has it really mattered? But whether it's mattered or not, how much of an impact do you think it will have in President Trump's likely announcement that he's running again?
If he decides to run or moves towards a run, Trump's allies tell me he's going to claim victory if some of his endorsed candidates win these races. But you raise a really important point, John. It's far more complicated, the Trump factor, than former President Trump might argue in the coming days if he moves toward a 2024 bid. Think about Pennsylvania. Mehmet Oz gets the Trump endorsement in the primary race. That enables Oz to go ahead of David McCormick, the friendly figure for establishment Republicans in Washington. That Oz-Trump alliance really helps Oz in the primary. But where was Oz in recent days? Yes, he was at a Trump rally with the former president. But more importantly, he was in the Philadelphia suburbs in Bucks County. Who was he welcoming to Bucks County? Senator Susan Collins of Maine, along with Congressman Brian Fitzpatrick, the more centrist Republican from that area. Oz knows the Trump endorsement mattered in the primary, and it helps him get some turnout of core Republican voters tomorrow. But at the end of the day, if he's going to win Pennsylvania, it's not because of former President Trump. It's because suburban Republicans in Pittsburgh and Philadelphia say we're with him.
So smart. That's why Oz has been running those ads talking about too much divisiveness in Washington, moderating here as he heads towards the tape. The final question for you, Bob, is just at a Pennsylvania rally on Saturday, President Trump gave a little nickname to the Florida governor. Let's hear what he had to say, and I want to talk to you about it at the other end of it.
I'm not going to say it yet, but I'm telling you, Uncle Sam said, no, you are. Uncle Sam just said, no, you are going to say it. We're winning big, big, big in the Republican Party for the nomination like nobody's ever seen before. Let's see, there it is, Trump at 71, Ron DeSanctimonious at 10%.
So on the one hand, this is a laurel. Once you get a nickname, it means that the former president feels you're a threat to him. On the other hand, it obviously means the former president is now got his sights on the Florida governor. What do you make of all this?
In the days since Trump made that statement, Ron DeSanctimonious, he's walked it back a bit in interviews saying, oh, no, I would like to see Governor DeSantis win re-election. But make no mistake, what Trump did at that rally with that particular remark, that's a classic Trump move. It's a warning shot to his rivals that if you enter this race, it's going to be no holds barred, personal shots, professional shots at your record. You're going to get a nickname, and it's his way of trying to move toward freezing the field. And that's what comes down to this possible early announcement. We hear he may even talk about it on Monday night in Ohio. You're going to see from Trump a move to consolidate his support before others, whether it's Governor DeSantis or Governor Youngkin of Virginia, get into this, potentially get into the 2024 presidential race.
One race endeth, another race began. Robert Costa, thanks so much for being with us.